Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Entrepreneurial Audacity. Today, I'm here with Geoffrey, who is going to tell us a little bit about his business, his story, and his mindset, and what took him to the world of business and entrepreneurship. So, Geoffrey, without further ado, I'm going to pass to you. Give us a bit of an intro.
My name is Geoffrey Chuah. I'm the owner of Limo Productions. We're a video production agency based in Sydney. I started Limo in October 2025, so it's not that old at all. We focus on real estate and finance, but we do other single shoots in other industries as well. So yeah, that's pretty much what I do. A little bit about my background is that I am a photographer from New Zealand. I came over here about 25 years ago to pursue my career as a fashion photographer. I've always had an interest in the visual arts, especially movies. And about 7.5 years ago, I started freelance video editing. And then from there, from October last year, I created my video production agency company, Limo Productions. So that's what I've been doing ever since.
Awesome. Thank you, Geoffrey. What were you doing before you actually launched your business in October? Like, you were still in that field, but what were your work days like in the lead up before you started your own company?
So what I was doing, I was freelance video editing. Took up a lot of my time, probably around 75 to 80% of my time. And I'd also freelance as a photographer. So those are my two main sources of income as a freelancer. So when I wasn't freelancing, I would be taking photos or I'd be practicing my video editing. So I'd enter competitions, Music Bed, and also Edit Fest. They were two really cool competitions to enter in. So I've actually just finished one not long ago for Music Bed, and Edit Fest has just started. So, but I'm not sure if I'm going to have time for Edit Fest this year because I'm pretty busy. So, but yeah, it's like when I wasn't working for other people, I'd be working for myself, like just to become a better editor, take photos. I really engrossed myself with video editing. I loved it. And I always wanted to be one step ahead from everything else. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I like that. And where do you think that drive to be one step ahead came from? Was there any moment throughout your life that really drove you to have that?
Actually, so this is not the first business I've run. The first business I ran was about 10 years ago. That was an e-commerce business. So it's a product-based business. I thought I knew how to run a business back then, but as soon as I took on coaching, I actually took on a business coach. He taught me a lot. Actually, the company taught me a lot, and I realized that I actually knew nothing. So that is really installed with me. And what they taught me was to plan. So obviously plan your week, plan your month, plan 3 months in advance. Obviously you're looking to forecast each week regarding money, planning what you want to do. And also obviously having a photographic background as well, you would plan shoots. You always go, right, I need 8 shots on this day. Where am I going to shoot? How am I going to shoot them? Get a storyboard together, because the last thing you want to do when you turn up to a shoot is your client looking at you, asking a question, go, where we're going to shoot now, and you're going to go, I'm going to shoot there. So, because when you're on a shoot, your client is looking to you to solve their problem, which is what being in business is all about. So they're there to solve a problem, and that's capture their photos for them with that stays within the brand that you're shooting for. So that's where it all came from. Planning ahead, I think, is the key to any business. And also, I like to plan my weeks on a professional and also on a personal level. So what am I going to do on Thursday night? So I'm not standing there after I finish work going, oh, what am I going to do? Sort of thing. I'll look at my diary. Oh, okay. I plan to go see this movie, or I'm going to do this, or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Planning is such an important thing. And I'd love to know, because you've started a business before. So can we dive into what happened with that and, what was like, yeah, what happened?
So I always wanted to have start up a business and not just be a freelancer. Um, I don't know what drove me to want to start a business, but I just wanted to do it. So I just thought I wanted it to connect to my photography. And because I was shooting fashion and swimwear, I decided to start up an online swimwear shop. So the focus was on women's swimwear. Um, I obviously when you do that and you don't really have any too much of an idea of how to run a business, you go into it with your own ideas of, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Instead of going for a specific niche, I actually did a crossover of everything, like different designs and different this and one pieces and bikinis and all that sort of thing. And what I should have done was pick a niche and stick to that. And obviously, it didn't really take off. I was struggling with it, and then as I said, mentioned before, I got business coaching to learn how to run a business, which really has stuck in my head. But yeah, that's what I did. And then the reason why I left that was I found that I was working more on my business than doing something that I really enjoyed doing, and that was being a photographer. So each week I'd write out in my diary what I was doing, and the list was like this long. I'd go from each week, and I just like going, I can't get out. I can't get out and do the things that I really want to do, and that's take photos. And I think that's the reason why it probably didn't really kick off as well as what it could have, because I wanted to focus on two different things. Um, so I decided, well, okay, what do I enjoy doing most? And that's taking photos. So I decided to leave that behind and move forward. I don't regret doing it because I learned so much from it. I learned how to run a business. I learned a lot about myself on a personal and a professional level, which I've taken into this business here. So, and it's taken me a long time to do another business mainly because I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. And once you've worked out exactly what you want to do, you've just got to go for it. And that's what I did. So um, we can probably talk about that later on in the podcast, how I went about starting my business and all that sort of thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And you highlighted a really good point about, you tried something and you figured that it wasn't actually what you wanted to do. So, what was it like going through the phase of leaving that business and kind of just going on the journey of discovery to find what you actually want to do and how you want to spend your time? Like, what was that like? Because did you have a lot of fears or a lot of internal thoughts going on about, was there like, oh, you're a failure because this business has failed? Or like, how did you navigate that? Because, when you start something and it doesn't take off, I know I've started ventures and they've just gone meow.
Yeah.
And you just get hit with those feelings of like, oh God. And, like, did you have any of that? Like, and how did you navigate it?
Um, I don't really look at it as I mean, yes, I think it was a failure. You could say it was a failure, but at the same time, I look at it on a positive side of things, that it was a learning experience.
Yeah.
And I think that what I learned from it has left life skills for me for the rest of my life. I've learned how to run a business. I know that you've got to brand it, you've got to market it, you've got a sales process. Obviously, this is looking at a product point of view, and then you've got to take all these photos that represent and make it look like the exact product that the person's going to be buying. And then there's a psychology behind selling online as well. So I learned a lot from it, and I did, even though I think it was a failure, I took away as much positivity as I possibly could from it. So things that I learned from it was obviously how to run a business. I learned that I can do it, but I need to put all my time and effort into it rather than just 75 or 80% and then the other 25 or 20% something else. And then Yeah, that's where how I looked at it. I looked at it more of the positive perspective rather than the negative perspective that I failed. Um, because I think if you do fail, you've always got to be able to take some kind of positive aspect from it. And it doesn't mean, and that's anything in life, I think, in business or whatever you do. Because not being negative in any shape or form, but you do fail in life from time to time. And when you do fail, you've just got to take the positives from it, pick yourself up and say, right, do I want to continue, or do I want to just like put that on the side? If you want to continue, you just map it out, you plan again, and then you work it out, and then you just go for it. And I think it also depends on how determined you are and how you want to succeed as well. So that's what I took away from it. I took more positives than negatives for sure. And I think those positives has really helped my second business that I've just started.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so important. One of my favorite quotes is failure is the prerequisite of success. And, we can do things and they might not work out. And I absolutely love that you highlight that you take the positives from it because, there's lessons in everything. And I know that there's going to be listeners out there that are going to resonate with your story because, I've even got friends who have started different businesses and in things that they're not really interested in. And, even though the business ended up going under or they didn't pursue it and, they still have taken the lessons and like what they were able to learn from that experience and apply it to the next one. So I would love to hear, what you would say to what advice would you give to your younger self going through that process from your point of view now?
Don't be so pig-headed.
Yeah.
Back then I was really stubborn. I thought, right, yeah, I know how to run a business, but once I started, as I said, business coaching, I didn't know shit. I really didn't.
Yeah.
And I just thought, what if I was going to tell my younger self before I go into business? I'd just say research and learn everything you can possibly learn about how to run a business. And you don't have to go to school for it. Um, you don't have to get a business degree or diploma to run a business. Just talk to other people, watch videos, read books, learn as much as you can before you actually start your business. And just fucking plan as much as you can. Even though sometimes those plans might go south, have a plan B and then have a plan C. And I also learned that from being on shoots, because I would plan shoots and then something would happen and it wouldn't work. I'd take a photo and go, that's not the photo that I wanted. So I've got to go, how am I going to make this work? And then you adapt. And I think being able to adapt while you're in business, because that I think is also very important, being able to adapt. And anyone who runs a successful business will tell you that they've had to adapt at certain stages. Nothing runs the plan, or how you want it to go, because you're always going to get speed bumps. You're always going to get something thrown in front of you. So being able to adapt and learn before you go into your start my business. And I also say to the younger self, Geoffrey, is that stop being so stubborn and
Yeah.
listen to people, which is what I do a lot of now. So yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And can you give us, so I'd love to know if you've got some examples of moments where, you've had that awareness, but maybe you haven't listened to it and then you've shot yourself in the foot and you've circled back and you're like, oh, if I wasn't so pig-headed and I did just listen.
Yeah.
Do you have any examples?
I'm just trying to think. Jesus. There's been so many people. I'd say there's a few there, but I just not really, not that I can really think of. I can't really think of anything
That's
just off the top
okay.
of my head.
Yeah,
Not
sometimes they come.
Yeah, not for the first business, that's for sure. I just can't think of anything. All I can really say is that I did get a lot of brands coming to me, being an online shop, trying to sell to me. And I tell you, I wouldn't want to try and sell to me, because if I didn't want it, I would just walk away. And then, but I still get a lot of people trying to sell to me in such a way that, oh, look at this, look at that. And I'm like, no, I don't want it. And they still try and put it on to me. So that's probably the only real story I can think of, but I
Yeah,
can't
no
really think of
worries.
anything off the top of my head. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes, sometimes we do have really concrete examples of those moments. For me yesterday, I was maneuvering something on my with my setup, and my intuition was telling me to do something and I didn't listen, and I snapped a
Yeah.
piece of my equipment,
Yeah.
so oh yeah, it's funny, but that stubbornness, and you highlighted a really good point about, you know, don't be so pig-headed and actually accept help. So, you've gone through the business coaching and the mentor side of things. Do you still invest in mentorship? Like, what's your opinion now? And like, if you need help, how do you go to like, what platforms do you use? Who do you go to?
Yeah. So there's later on down the track when I'm reaching the revenues that I want to reach. So my goal is in 5 years to run $1 million business. So I've never done that before. So there are coaches out there who specialize in videography. I'm running a video production company. So I don't know if they end up watching this or not, but there's a couple there that I'm actually talking to right now. One wants me to sign on right now, but I'm not ready. And there's another one that is giving away value to help me reach at least 10 grand a month before he takes me on. He's giving me all the tools to actually do that. So he's giving me marketing, he's giving me roadmap, he's giving me sales to all implement into my business. So yeah, I am looking at getting a coach later on down the track once I reach a certain stage where I need to employ people and I'm reaching a certain revenue each month because as I said, I want to do $1 million business within 5 years. And I think that's my goal. That is definitely my goal. And to do that, I'm going to need help. I can't do it all by myself. And if I've never done it before, and these people have done it before, then yeah, even if I have to pay that coach, and I know that I'm going to have to do paid coaching later on down the track, that's fine because I'm paying them for a service. And if they can't help me, then I'm just going to go somewhere else. So, but yeah, I think coaching is definitely a very important part. And then you'll find that a lot of big businesses, a lot of successful business people have actually had coaching, even though they probably wouldn't admit it. So yeah, that's definitely something that I'm going to be investing probably sooner rather than later,
Yeah,
for sure.
like for me personally, I invest a lot of time in my own development because I was listening to a talk the other night actually, and this fellow was talking about like the limits, like the amount of money you can make with your hands is
Hmm.
capped, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
the amount of money you can make with your head isn't.
yeah,
It's infinite.
yeah, yeah,
So, and having, the right people around you to support you and guide you who've been on that journey and understand where you're at and can help give you those stepping stones can be such a massive difference in you achieving your goal in 5 years opposed to one. So,
yeah.
but it takes a lot of humility to put your hand up and say, all right, I need a coach. I've kind of hit where I'm at and now I need that help. So, what would
Yeah.
you say to some of our listeners who are probably at that point of they need a bit of help, but they're not really ready to reach out? They don't know where to start. Like, what would you advise them?
There's a lot of them online. A lot of them there's some really good ones out there, and there's a lot of shit ones out there. I follow a couple of influencers who just that's all they do is just content giving away value about how to run a business. So I would start online, and Instagram's a really good place to start, just because coaches will always give away value. They want people to sign up with them, yes, but people have to know what they're going to get. So what they do is they give away value. They'll give away they'll give away tips here and there. So a really good one that I found was when I was watching Tom, I can't remember his second name, but he was saying that even though my service is a video production company, you're still dealing with a business person. So a business person wants to talk to a business person. So when you're in a sales call, it's all about business. It's not about making all these amazing videos and making, it's got to be cinematic and, the audio is great and the color grading is great. They don't give a fuck about that. They want to see results. So if you're talking to another business person, then immediately you're on the same level, and you've also got to talk their language, whatever industry that they're in. So start online. That is definitely the best start, whether it's on, I find that Instagram's a really good one because they get straight to the point. And then 9 times out of 10, they'll have a YouTube channel. So look at their YouTube channel and they'll have longer form videos where they go into more depth about what they're talking about. And then I think when you're ready, once you've watched a lot of their content or all their content, which is funny enough happened to me today, a potential client has watched my own content and quoted me in the emails. So they've gone, okay, I've watched your content. I know what you're about. I know what you can do for me. Then they'll reach out. Then you can reach out to them and say, right, okay, you know more about them than they know about you. So once you know a lot about their service and how they can help you, then you'll be able to pick and choose which one is going to work best for you. And there are some coaches out there that also have guarantees. It's like after 2 months, if you don't think it's right for you, then we'll refund the whole amount back. So yeah, as I said, start online, watch their content, watch the value that they give away, because all of them will give away some form of value. And then if you want to start going one-on-one coaching or join their program, then yeah, once you reach a certain stage and you know when you'll need one, reach out to them and just start talking to them. That's the best thing to do. I'm talking to 2 coaches at the moment. One wants to sign me on straight away because he says he likes my vibe. I don't feel that I'm quite ready for it yet. And then there's another coach who said to me that wait, get to 10 grand a month and then we can talk. And he's given me all the tools that I need to get to 10 grand, rather than the other coach has gone, okay, yeah, we can help you get these retainers for you, but you have to pay for it. So what do? I just go, I just go the other route where this guy's actually giving me all the tools that I need to get to 10 grand. And then I'll talk to Dan and then he'll go, okay, you ready to sign up? Yeah. Okay, let's talk. So that in itself, I think, is the best way to do it. Because even the coaching company that I worked with 10 years ago, they've all gone online now, and they started a podcast, and there's like 300 episodes, and they're giving away shitloads of value, left, right, and center. Whereby, when I was with them before, you would have to pay for everything. Now it's different. So, and that's how I think business has changed a lot now in this day and age. You have to give away a certain amount of value to your customer before they sign you on.
Yeah, it's a very different world that we are doing business in these days.
Mm-hmm.
Going back onto the coaching thing, though, I would love to get your thoughts and your opinion on what it means to be coachable. Because, and I say this from a position where I've had, I do coaching as well. And I've also been coached when I wasn't ready to be coached. So I would love to know what your thoughts are around that.
That's a good question, actually. When are you ready to be coached? I could be coached right now, but it's going to cost me money. But I also know that I have the knowledge. I think it's really, there's 2 ways of looking at it. So if you're just starting a business and you don't know very much about how to run a business, like I did 10 years ago, then you can get a coach. But if you know you've got that knowledge behind you, you just need tweaks, just need refinements, and then you've reached a certain stage where you haven't been before. Like, for example, my goal is to reach 10 grand a month before I take on a coach. I know I can do it, but it's just going to take a bit of time. And I think once you've established your business and you've reached your revenue goal, and you say, right, how do I get from 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, et cetera, then that's when you're going to start needing help. I think when you scale it, also when you're going slightly off topic, when you scale your business and you're doing everything yourself, okay, that's fine. But once you go from 10 to 20, you're going to need to employ people. And that means employing a coach, employing people who are going to help take work off your plate so you can focus more on the business or whatever you need to do. But you'll know when you reach a certain goal that you're going to say, right, how do I go from 10 to 20? I've never done that before. So let's find a coach to show me how to do it. Also, as I mentioned just before, if you've never run a business before, it's always sometimes good to have a coach or someone to show you the way, because you've never run a business. If you've never run a business, how do you know what to do? And once you get to a certain stage, then yeah. But even like if you get to 50 grand, you want to go from 50 to 100, you think to yourself, how am I going to do that? Reaching out to a coach who's actually done it before is invaluable. Their knowledge and what they'll be able to tell you is going to help you do that. And also they're always 3 steps ahead. That's what I found. Whenever I've spoken to Dan, whenever I've spoken to Ayrton, I'll say something in the chat and they go, mate, that's great, but you got to do this. And you don't think of that at the time because you've never done it before. So a good coach will always be 3 steps ahead of you, because you go, okay, I know that I've got to do this, but how do I do it? And I go, this is how you do it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a really important thing that you've highlighted, that they're ahead of you, because, when you look at like who's the perfect person to coach, if you're yourself go into like a coaching position, it's the younger version of you, right? It's like me 5 steps before I got here. That's who I need to coach, because I'm like the pro in that field because I've just done it. And now it's like that next part. And it is succinctly how we work when we do go up in business and things, because it's like, okay, cool, I've got to this point. Now to get to the next point, I need that support around me. And tying onto the support side of it, I'd love to know what your support network has been like throughout your journey of entrepreneurship, because I've done interviews with people who had really supportive networks and interviews with people who haven't really had great support. So, what was your family and your friends like as you were diving into this journey?
Regarding support, my dad was great. I remember when I started doing content, giving away value about why videos are important for your business. He would say, "Oh, I'm really proud of you, Jeff." He's the only one who calls me Jeff, by the way. He goes, "Oh, I'm really proud of you, Jeff. I really love seeing this and all sort of things." It was like, there's only 3 or 4 videos in, and I said, "Dad, there's going to be a shitload more content coming. They've only just touched the surface." So Dad was great. My brothers didn't really give a shit because I don't really talk to. We get on, but we don't really talk to each other that much. My friends are great. They said, "Oh, I'm really proud of you. I'm really proud of you," and that sort of thing. But a lot of the time, I think I can be quite a private person, and they didn't realize that all that knowledge was actually sitting in the back of my head. And once I actually put it on camera, they realized, holy shit, he knows that. So, and then really that they've just really been a really more of a back seat rather than a front seat, because, I can't really learn anything from them, but they have been very supportive, and that's been great. And then that's part of the journey. But apart from that, my network, my sort of like professional network has been like, oh, okay, he's doing video production. Okay, all right, whatever. So it hasn't really been supportive, but they know it's there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cool. And so when you've been, diving into setting up this second business and, going into the entrepreneurial world again, Have you had any hurdles that you've needed to face that kind of threw you a little bit, or that you were a bit, because you've done like business coaching and stuff, and maybe you were prepared for some things to happen, but did you have anything that kind of threw you that you weren't prepared for?
Uh, just trying to think. Yes, I did. So from my first business, obviously I had all the documents to how for a business plan, marketing plan. The business plan was 30 pages long, and I spent 2 weeks writing it all out and going through this and all that sort of thing. Waste of fucking time. Seriously, what I should have done was work out your roadmap for your client from start to finish, from cold lead right to the point where you're posting it online. And that's your roadmap. So all the different steps. So from your branding to your marketing, to your sales, to your strategy session, to your briefing, to your script, your filming day, your editing day. Sorry, your filming and then editing, and then any revisions that your client wants done. So from those revisions, you go, right, these your videos are all finished. Okay, then working out when you're going to schedule them, and then posting them, writing out the copy, and then looking at all the analytics a few days later, a week later, or a month later, or how well did we do? So you've gone from 1,000 views to 5,000 views. Oh, great. And then work out, okay, we've got enough content now. We can run ads. So, yeah, just I think you do have to plan, but it has to be the right plan. And what I found out only really like 6 weeks ago is that sometimes certain business plans will work and sometimes they don't. And that's when you have to work out, okay, this business plan's not working. I'm glad that it's not working now rather than later. And then work out your second plan of attack. And that was my roadmap for my client. And that's obviously you go into more detail when it comes to branding, marketing, your sales, because obviously you're marketing where you're going to find your clients, and then your sales process. There's definitely a sales process when it comes to selling video assets. So yeah, that business plan thing, 30 pages, I probably looked at it once and I got past, when I did look at it again, I got past the 5th page and I thought, this is shit. What am I doing? What I should have done was just get out there, get my website out, get my website up and running, and then work on my personal branding. That's what I should have done. And then because I'm just starting out, okay, it just sounds like I'm sort of like a little bit not planning, but I am planning, but make it up as you go along. And then as you go along, you go, okay, what do I need to do now? I need to market. So I need to work on my personal branding, and I can push people for now to my website, which will tell everything about them, everything about me. And then once I've got enough content on my personal branding website, my personal branding page, which is my Instagram, I can push people to that so they can get value for what video can do for their business and how it can solve their problem by getting more leads, warming their leads up. And then once their leads are all warmed up, when you jump on that sales call, they know everything about you. So it's so much easier to sell. So yeah, that's probably the only thing I can really think of. Just that business plan, which I haven't looked at. And then, yeah, just write out client roadmap or customer roadmap, whether you're a service or a product, and do it that way. Because that's, for me, I think that's how we do business now. So if you can, because it's all about your client or your customer. And if you've got to look at business from your perspective of your client or the customer, and then work back. So yeah, that's what I do differently for sure.
Awesome. I love that. And what's your opinion, or what are your thoughts about, because you wrote this business document, 30 pages, and you have read 5 pages of it and not looked at it since, basically. So what's your thought about being agile and changing with things? Because I know for myself, a lot of the time, like we're going to do, you're like, okay, cool, I'm going to get a bit wrapped up. I'm going to start doing this. And then you've got to be agile and be able to just lift and shift when needed, because we do go down these rabbit holes of, I need to create this thing. And it's like, this thing is going to take you a massive amount of time. How often are you actually going to look at it? And it's not until you kind of live those moments that you figure it out, that it's like, oh, this isn't the thing that's moving the needle. So I'd love to get your thoughts on, how do you adopt your mindset to make sure that you can pick yourself up and notice when you're not working on the right things? And how do you personally change direction when you have caught yourself in those times?
Um, when I'm not working on things that are not going right, that happened to me a couple of nights ago. Actually, it happened to me last night. A couple of nights ago, I just finally started running ads, because you need content on your personal branding site or your professional site, Instagram profile, so people can get value. And I've thought, well, okay, I'm ready to do that. And because I had like 3 or 4 different accounts connected to my Meta ads account. So for everyone out there, Meta ads is run by Facebook and Instagram. So I logged into my ads manager, and then I went, oh my God, how do I do this? And then I thought to myself, you know what? If I can navigate an editing, teach myself how to edit videos and navigate an interface from that, I can do this. It took me a little bit longer than probably what I thought I'd do, and I did fuck it up. I actually only had people going to my Facebook for the first time for the first 24 hours, and they realized, what's going on here? People are following my Facebook and not my Instagram. And I clicked on it, and I just went, okay, switched that off, changed it. Took me about an hour and a half, and because Meta has AI, I could ask the AI, why isn't this running properly? And then it told me everything I need to know. And I went, okay. So, and then I went back, made a different ad. I switched the old one off. I actually only did that today. And I and made a new ad so it could push traffic to my Limo Productions Instagram profile. So I'm starting on a very low daily pay-per cost. So it's like $3 at the moment, because I want to test and measure. But that was probably one of the things hurdles that I came across, just doing ads. And I think I can see why it is such a complex process, and it is, but I think you just really have to sit there and work it out and back yourself. Because if you think you can't do it, then you're probably not going to do it. So you got to back yourself in a way that say, right, I know how to do this. I can work it out. I've got AI sitting right on the right of my screen that I can answer that'll answer any of my questions. And it's really good because it gives you a step-by-step guide. And I did that, and now it's working, I hope. I haven't checked it because it takes like a good couple of days for Meta to work out who to show the ads to. So yeah, that was probably the first. I have to say that's probably the answer to your question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned before about, staying true and backing yourself.
Yeah.
What did you channel internally throughout that moment? And, you've gone on a few different ventures. So like what do you tie that inner drive back to? Is there a certain situation, belief, your internal why that, you really harness your energy to when you are going through those moments of like, what am I doing to
Yeah.
keep you going forward?
It's probably come from my creative background. When I was a photographer, when I was an editor, as a photographer, I'd get into tight situations and going, this is not working. I'm not going to show my client. but this is not working. And then you adapt, and then you got to go, right, I've got to push myself harder to make sure that this works. And it's the same with video editing as well. You're problem solving as a video editor. You'll get given a whole lot of content. Most of it might be rubbish. Most of it might be really good. And then your client gives you 3 words for a brief and goes, "Can you make it like this?" Blah, 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 blah. And they're going, "Yes, I can. Not a problem." And, you've got, I don't know, a few days to turn something into nothing into something, and then something into something that'll blow them away. So I think it really came from my creative background, just making sure that I backed myself to make sure that I get the result that I wanted. And I think that's sort of the mindset a professional sports person as well comes from, pushing yourself as hard as you possibly can till you get a result. And I think that's something that I always strive to do, is just get a result, even if it's a negative one or a bad one. I think to get the result that you want takes time and takes practice, but to really push yourself and see if you can actually do it as well. I think that is something that always ask myself, am I able to do this? Can I work this out? And I go, yes, I can. And if you don't back yourself from doing whatever in the field that you're doing, then I think it's time to get out. because clients are paying you money to get them results. So you've got to back yourself in every shape or form, whatever you do when you go into business, that yes, you can do that. Yes, you can produce these results. And there's times when I've gone, I have never done that before, but I know I can do it. But I've got to sell myself in such a way that the client will say, yes, I'm happy for you to do this. And you can do it. But sometimes you just got to back yourself, whatever you do, and then get a positive result.
I really like that. And I really like what you said around getting a result, whether it be positive or negative, because we're not always going to get it right. And when you go into starting businesses and you go on this journey, it's a journey of discovery on what your capabilities are and where things will go. And you got to get up when you do get knocked down. And I absolutely love that you just said that. Get a result, and channeling your, that performance mindset that a lot of athletes have as well, because they train and they prepare themselves. And you mentioned planning a lot, is like they do that work. So when they go onto the field, they're ready for it. And I absolutely love, I just love the result. So I also want to know what audacity means to you, because this is part of the podcast and, it is about having that audacious mindset. So what does audacity mean for you?
It's a good question. Another good question. Audacity. Being able to turn around and just give the middle finger to someone that actually doubted you right from the start. I think that's pretty much it, really. I mean, I've always had my doubters as well in life. I'm not going to hold back on that. People have gone, you can't do that. And I say, fuck you, I can do that. And that's that's mindset, determination, as well. Just getting out there and proving to people that, oh shit, he can do that. Oh my God, that video is really good. Oh Jesus, that's great. Turning around and proving people wrong. I think that's the great thing about it. That's pretty much all I can really say on that.
I love that. No, that's
question.
perfect. And it is, right? Because we go on these journeys and we have doubters, we have haters, and I personally, I welcome it. I'm like, doubt me, because for me, being a young, ambitious woman, particularly, you get a lot of males who want to doubt you. And I'm like, I welcome it with open arms. I'm like, no worries. It actually helps motivate me, because I tie it to that. And I'm like, I cannot wait until I have that moment where it is that flip, and you can just flick them the bird and be like, well, look what I've got now. So
exactly.
absolutely love that you channel that, because that's what we need to stay really resilient in the face of this journey, because it's not easy. We have ups and we have downs, and it's all part of the process. And I love that, you've been able to tap into that and navigate that. So that's
Yeah.
really awesome. Now, in closing, I would love to get one piece of advice that you want to leave our listeners with.
Oh, obviously about business.
About anything audacious and mindset. Geoffrey, nothing off limits.
Um, I reckon planning's always the key for me. I think that's the one thing that really comes to mind. Planning, making sure you know what you're doing, planning where you want to go, how you want to do it. I mean, you might come up with a business idea, but have absolutely no idea what you want to, how you're going to do it. So plan your learning, plan how you're going to get there. Um, that is the key to running a successful business, even though my planning is only by the week at the moment, because obviously a lot of my clients only go weekly. So I've had a couple of jobs where it's all last minute, and I go, yeah, I take it, and I take those jobs because, one, I've been working with that client for like the last 2 years and I don't want to let them down. And two, I get to do something that I really enjoy, and that's take photos and film and edit. But yeah, planning what you want to do, planning personal projects, planning professional stuff for your clients. So I like to try and do personal projects. Each one that I finish, I try and do another one after that. So obviously that's planning something that you want to do and enjoy doing, that you can try and implement into your professional life. So, and I even plan what I want to do tonight, and that's cook myself a curry.
Lovely. We love that. Yeah, I'm all about a good diary invite. If you need me to something, and I've I've
Yeah.
circulated that with my friends now. I'm like,
Hmm.
if you need me, you need to tell me where and when, specifics, because yeah, I'm very much a planner, and
Yep.
it's yeah, it makes such a difference, and it just removes that grey zone of wasting time working on the wrong things and doing the wrong things. When you have that structure and you keep that, uphold that, then it helps you.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Cool. So, Geoffrey, where can people go to find out more about what you do? And obviously, to our listeners, we will put all of the links and stuff in the show notes. But yeah, I'll just hand over to you to.
So my website's lamodeproductions.com.au, and my personal Instagram, which is probably the best one to go to, even though all that same content is as the same as Lamode Productions Instagram, is creative underscore by underscore Geoffrey Chuah. So Geoffrey spelled GeoffreyChuah. So yeah, it's that's it. You'll get to see a lot of my content, my giving away value content.
Beautiful. I love that. Speaking of value, this conversation has been really fun, Geoffrey. I really appreciate you taking the time to come on the podcast. I know I've gotten a lot of value from our conversation. I'm sure our
Hmm.
listeners will as well. So thank you everyone for listening. Obviously, yeah, links for getting in contact with myself, Geoffrey, all in the show notes. If you've got some thoughts, feedback, reach out. And Geoffrey, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Angie. I really enjoyed my time here, and yeah, hopefully maybe later on down the track we can do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. I know it'd be interesting. I cannot wait until we'll have to do another podcast when you hit the $1 million,
That'll be
and then we'll
great.
dive further
I'd have
into
some
that,
stories to
because
tell for sure.
yeah,
For sure.
100%. Oh, I love it. All right. Stay audacious, my friend.
Thank you.